All right, but first, farming has been in the news again this week because of the protests of imported food and the effect it's having on businesses.
But that's not the only pressure on tenant farmers who've played a huge part in British agriculture for hundreds of years. They're facing a new kind of threat to their homes, farms and livelihoods, as Joe Crowley discovers.
Tenant farmer Andrew works a farm near Ilkeston in Derbyshire, which provides meat to supermarkets. His family have worked this land for close to 100 years.
But the Dakins are just one of many farming families facing eviction as landowners look to more profitable uses for their land.
When my landlord's agent came to see me one day, he mentioned the fact I could potentially lose all my fields to a solar farm. This is my way of life. This is all what I've ever known. I would hate to see it gone for either solar or a housing development.
Back in November 2020, the government's post-Brexit agricultural policy provided eco-friendly initiatives for landowners to help hit green targets. This left some tenant farmers across the UK waiting to hear if the land they worked was to become anything from wind farms to woodland restoration. In North Yorkshire, tenant farmers Rob and Emma Sturdy run a 280-acre arable and livestock farm. More than 3 years ago, they received notification that some of those fields, good agricultural land, was going to be turned into a solar farm by an energy firm.
I mean, that's quite a bombshell.
We were absolutely flabbergasted and I had to stop myself bursting into tears.
But ultimately, you don't own the land and everything will come down to whoever owns the land.
This agricultural tenancy gives Rob tenancy for 3 lifetimes. So I think it's a huge oversimplification to say you don't own the land. And it's a demonstration of actually how misunderstood these tenancies are.
After 3 years of uncertainty, North Yorkshire Council refused consent for the planned solar farm to go ahead.
I couldn't believe it and I just thought, gosh, you know, it's very rare that things go the way you want them to go.
However, the costly battle isn't over, as they're expecting the energy company to appeal the decision in the next few months, which will bring them right back to square one. With the UK striving to reach net zero by 2050, the pressure to find forms of renewable energy is high. Steve Shaw is from Power for People, which campaigns to find clean energy solutions. He believes a big part of this is farmland.
With only 13% of all of our energy coming from renewable generation, we are so far away, and there's going to be a lot more energy requirement. It's going to have to be built somewhere.
What would you say to tenant farmers who have these planning applications hanging over their heads?
If we are going to reach climate safety, it is going to affect the lives of people, farmers. There will be some hard choices to be made.
We've brought Steve to Rob and Emma's farm to see if they can agree on a way forward to farm and to meet the UK's net zero commitment.
If we're going to meet our renewable energy targets, farms presumably, Steve, have quite a large part to play in this, do they?
I think we need to be careful and make sure that if renewable generation is going to get built on any farmland, that's done very carefully.
Do we find a way that either exempts tenant farmers or finds better compensation for tenancy?
That would still be taking the land out of food production. Regardless of the compensation, the good land would still be disappearing.
How can these tenant farmers be better protected?
More government regulation on best and most versatile farmland. To look after our food security, still do solar, but on the right sites.
There are more suitable locations where they can get their few 100-acre solar farm. They can make money without the impact that this has on us.
When we contacted the landowner of Rob and Emma's farm, they told us that the farm's proximity to an existing electricity substation makes it particularly suitable for a solar development. They stressed that Rob and Emma have never been asked to leave their home and that the compensation they've been offered is 8 times the amount they're legally entitled to. Meanwhile, the landowner of Andrew Dakin's farm chose not to comment.
Clearly this is not an easy thing to solve, but there's optimism there that with the right joined up thinking, there is a fair way forward to create the food and the energy that we need.
Oh, it's such a difficult one. I hope that, we can find a solution. And thank you very much for that film, Joe. Very important stuff. Now, it's time to say hello to our wonderful